I'll simply touch a few points which is worth noting. Sustainable Development Goals, if you look at essentially whether it is elimination of extreme poverty or gender equality or zero hunger, here is an opportunity we are all building around the world today. People expect bigger, opportunity to build food security. Zero hunger has been attempted. Now everyone is ensuring the basic needs are met. Every fiscal policy as well as monetary policy is reassuring at least minimum existence. And that's a good sign. And again, when it comes to gender equality, irrespective of your gender, you have online education, which can take you through online or offshore or onshore, essentially is here to stay. So transformation in terms of education, first of all, I want to compliment a good report in March and April KPMG has released. It was sectoral and very well thought through, and the challenges and opportunities, short, medium, and long term, were extremely well defined. In comparative terms, I really relished what you have published. Now, coming back to the track, so if you move further, you have universal health care is already, is a major emphasis, including emerging markets where hygiene was not the focus. Now, everyone is conscious of health care. Now, today, clinical solutions are available online, essentially to make sure it's all about ensuring health and safety. The rest will follow through. That's the kind of consciousness is being developed. That's hitherto was not there. Stepping further, you have clear opportunities to make the economy greener. I have been, the last 30 years I've been working on one mission. Building a green economy has been my main focus, long-term personal commitment to the planet Earth. So essentially, green banking is my focus. Now, carbon emission is a major thrust. 27% of the global carbon emission comes from China. 15% is from United States. 10% is from Europe. 7% is from countries like India. So you have to recognize now there are opportunities available by digital governance, and again, ensuring the multiple opportunities through renewables. We are going to reduce the carbon emission, and we are going to create a carbon neutral society. That's a bigger opportunity. Peace, justice, institutions are going to be transformed through, again, digital revolutions today. Commercial disputes should be resolved. And again, the bureaucratic process which are endangering the solvency of transparency and truth has to be diminished. And tax havens, offshore tax havens are nothing but tax evasion centers. This is my personal view. And there's nothing as offshore. Everything has to be onshore, everything has to be transparent, and everything has to be, digitized in making sure, including legal tender. There should be a digital currency for us to see through. There is no parallel systems which is endangering the solvency or corrupting the social economy. So we have bigger opportunity to bring in value streams. Again, endangering the solvency of this planet was a major threat. Now we need to make sure, animal extinction or otherwise, today people will be protective enough to recognize Mother Nature has to be protected. So the list goes on. The opportunity for us to transform this crisis with a positive vibe is very much there, and that's what exactly. And the world is becoming flat. Professional like you and me will have no disparity or discrimination, caste, creed, or religion, or race, or value come from. Whether you come from Barcelona or Bangladesh, you will have a standard pay for your skill matrix. That's getting ironed out. These are some of the opportunities which are going to visibly shake this world. And the world will become a better place, and we will create better citizens of this world. So for me, it's a positive interpretation if I give a bigger picture.
Thank you, Seetharaman. I know there's a lot of information on that response which you gave. I'll just bring to the context of Qatar in terms of the government support and what they're doing for the private sector. As you know, His Highness the Emir of Qatar announced 75 billion stimulus package to reach the private sector to offer them the maximum benefit and support in real terms. My question will be, are the banks in Qatar playing enough complementary role in this whole process, in your opinion, keeping in mind the welfare of the economy as the first priority? This billion has to percolate into the economy, and the banks have to play a big role in that. What's your take on that?
it is, world over, everyone has attempted a very similar model. That is, fiscal and monetary alignment has to come in globally. What's the specific purpose? You have to necessarily make sure liquidity you have to have it, individual or institutions, and debt servicing capacity has to be improved, and affordability, and moving from disaster recovery to business continuity. That's the thrust. So conceptually, you have to do the remedial management. You have to necessarily make sure you restructure the debtor, the every part of the business, and you also have to necessarily ensure that changing dynamics in terms of digital governance is factored in total terms. So these are some of the specific measures. Synchronized monetary policy and fiscal policy has been the set-in discipline or design, and that's what America has done. Country's GDP versus the total, number bailout. If you call it as bailout, it's subsistence. To sum it up, it is around 10 to 15%. America started with $3.5 trillion. Again, G20 in their virtual conference, they decided $5 trillion. And again, we have seen America is scaling up further through buying even private bonds. And they scissored the thought of thinking of raising the interest rates. There's no more, it's a possibility for the next few years at least. Now, all these are indicators for us to see improving the liquidity and ensuring the loan postponement or interest postponement are going to be enabler for subsistence. Now, the most important fact is to recognize that we have to, percolate the benefit in the hands of individual and institutions, and that's what most of the governments. Some government has given as gratis. They're given direct credit to the individuals, citizens, and the business enablers are very many. Every government has taken it. Now, interest rates is going to be static. That is world over. Disinflation, we are seeing it. With the contraction we are seeing, right from America today, we are talking about 10% contraction in US, another 8%. So that's the kind of changing dynamics. So we have to necessarily look at, there's no medical solution to it. Still, I am of the opinion that we are experimenting it. Countries are reopening for no reason. Unless you have 6.8 billion people are fully administered, vaccine has been clinically administered and ensure total safety. It's human-to-human transmission. We have to understand the dynamics of it. And countries who have prematurely opened up, they're facing a second wave, whether it is Korea, even today, Germany. So it is for me to recognize this, the monetary or fiscal prudence which they have created is only a temporary. We have to keep inventing ourselves. And what you're seeing today as a liquidity touch has to be supported in terms of solvency tomorrow. Countries are going to be bankrupt. Individual institutions are going to be bankrupt. Because if you look at the scale and magnitude of the crisis, this is huge, huge. And the consequential impact is still under measurements. And we have to make possible every single initiatives. Because when you call it as a financial institutions, if you say it's whether it is a private institution or a local institution, it is global, it is public. Because the shareholders' money, it is public. That's what the governance standards also says. Essentially, it is a public-private partnership, and everyone is doing it. Qatar's $20.5 billion outlay is quite meaningful. They have taken specific measures in terms of Qatar Development Bank initiatives. That is also contributory. Loans interest are postponed for 6 months. Perhaps it has to be more in the coming days. And the KDB, funding is also progressive. Additional funding to promote the financial markets are also there. These are experimentation at this point by any government. It remains to be seen what sort of additional support required based on the medical or clinical solution for us to see through in the coming days.
Yep. Thank you. You brought an interesting issue about the people side. Human capital is one of the important ingredients for success of any organization, more so in a financial institution like yourself, who deal with public at large. So one of the leading institutions in Qatar, employing a huge number of staff and serving a large customer base, what measures you have taken in the bank on the operation side to ensure the safety of your staff and customers without having a huge impact on the business of the bank and the business of the customers as well?
These are pretty standards. As I said, to start with, you have to have disaster recovery and business continuity otherwise as well. Without this crisis, you should be in a position to do. The primary parameters, when we recognize, common directives are very clear globally. Social distancing is a norm. So you have to necessarily make sure you have maintain hygiene, you know, wear a mask, whether customers or staff. That has been predicated. That's a prerogative in substance. Everyone has to observe. And transaction-based processing is now getting shifted to digital advantage, whether it is SMS or mobile or GPRS technology. People are moving to digital advantage. That's customer convenience comes in. And essentially, you're also avoiding the physical